Without a doubt, the most exciting part about landscape lighting design is lighting trees. There are so many types of trees and so many options available to you from FX Luminaire. Let's take a look.
So this is the backyard of the pool house area.
Wow, this is great.
Nice, open, spacious backyard. A lot of good lighting opportunities back here.
What was a favorite part of yours in this property here?
We were able to light some of these really nice large oak trees and redwood trees.
Okay.
You know, they kind of lend themselves to lighting, but getting the right angles and all that was really fun on this project.
Now, with a tree that large, how do you know how many fixtures to use?
It's become one of those things where you kind of go a little bit off feel, but generally with anything of good diameter you need at least 2 lights, but with a lot of these trees we did 3 to 4 on them just because of their size. If you try to just do 1 light on a large oak tree, you only see half the tree, and it does't look very good.
That's what I've found on trees as large as this. You really need multiple fixtures to be able to compensate for the various viewable angles. Right?
Correct. Yeah, and that's one of the big concerns. You always have to make sure that you take into account where is this going to be viewed from, and since this is a kind of a sweeping landscape, it's viewable from almost all sides, so we kind of had to hit those trees from all sides. And
on that same topic, I love how you used hex baffles in all the fixtures just to cut down on even more glare.
Yeah, you know, you can get by without them, but anytime you're going to get within a few feet of that fixture, especially in your pathways or anything, hex baffles are a must. Because that's one thing that kind of really ruin a good install is that bad glare that you can get. So yeah, hex baffles are not very expensive. It's a good investment.
So tell me about the downlighting that you did in those large trees. How do you decide how many downlights or where they're going to go in order to create the effect that you're creating?
Yeah, downlighting is an important aspect, especially in a sitting area like that. You can only accomplish so much with uplights, more from the artistic side, but to get some actual functional light, it's important to get some downlights. And so this area I don't think would be the same without having some nice downlights in that area. As far as how many, you can definitely overdo it sometimes, and we wanted to make sure that we did just enough so that they have a nice usable light, but almost like it's not there. You don't know where it's coming from, be able to hide the lights and just see the effect of it.
I love the effect of natural downlighting because it makes things feel more comfortable, inviting. It also creates a lot less contrast that I find as we're moving throughout the property. So I really enjoy that.
Agreed.
Now, when you're installing a fixture way up in the tree, what are some techniques that you use to be able to get it there and make it last there for a long time?
Yeah, so a few things are really important that you do. Obviously, trees grow, and so you want to make sure that when you're securing it, you do it in a way that allows for growth. And there's a few different methods of doing that. But one thing you don't really want to do is just pin it as hard as you can to the tree. It may look good for a few weeks or months, but pretty soon that wire is going to get embedded or break, and you may get a short or something. So paying attention to those little things are always good. Definitely using things that won't rust or corrode, so stainless steel components.
I even like to use the zip ties that allow to provide room for the cable to move up as the tree grows in terms of length, as well as to allow you to be able to add to your maintenance plan to allow for the growth of the tree as well.
Yeah, and I agree, and that's a method we've recently adopted, and we've had really good success with that same method.
So Mike, we're at the center of the driveway here. It looks like a roundabout section of the driveway, right? And this looks like a pretty important section of the area. Can you tell me about it?
Yeah, absolutely. This is a very important part of the area, and it has a beautiful ironwood in the center, which is like a very desirable tree. It lends itself to lighting very well. Okay. So we have several aspects of lighting. We have uplights. We have hanging downlights, soft hanging downlights. We have directional downlights pointed in order to all kind of do their own job and really bring all aspects of the lighting to full bloom in this area.
Well, that's a great point about they're all doing their own job. So what jobs specifically are the uplights doing here, in the in-grades?
Okay, the in-grades, now these give us a nice spread of lighting and kind of shows the texture of the underneath of the tree. You see the benefits from that, from, you know, all the underside of the beautiful tree and all the foliage and everything like that.
Now you use 3 of them. Why 3 of them?
No, there's actually 4 here.
4.
And because, you know, in this type of an area, it's very important from all angles, and there's going to be people viewing this from every side, and I don't want there to be a weak side, so I try to give it 360 degrees of coverage.
Great. So why use an in-grade as opposed to more of a stake-mounted uplight?
Well, for me, I prefer not being able to see the source of the light ever. The KG is actually one of my favorite fixtures. It's virtually bulletproof. It cannot be maladjusted by errant landscapers. You can step on it and all kinds of things, and it won't change the adjustability of it. It fits virtually imperceptible to the ground. You can't see in it. It's fully adjustable. There's just a lot of things that I really appreciate about it. And it keeps performing the way you intended.
Great. So let's move to another category, the directional downlights. You have
Yes.
JBs there.
Right.
How many are here? 3?
Yep.
And why use directionals like that?
Well, the specific advantage of that in here is because of it being an ironwood, and a lot of the western trees have really beautiful bark. You know, the client really likes to see that accentuate the beauty of this when it is such a focal point of when you're coming in. And those really give you the ability to be able to see the texture of the tree, the beauty of it, and it kind of focuses a little bit higher. So you have the underneath part lighted, and then you have the downward light, so it kind of encompasses the whole nature of the tree.
Now, how do you know where to aim those directional downlights?
The best, most surefire way is to come at night and kind of adjust it. But I mean, just through experience and things like that, you might have to do some fine tuning at night, but you'll be happy with the result.
So you mentioned you're concerned about the glare in the in-grades. How do you get rid of the glare from up in the tree like that?
Well, all of those fixtures come with a pretty substantial shield, which is fully adjustable. So you have to be kind of cognizant of where the people are going to be viewing the tree from, most likely. But generally with such a shield, it's shielded so strongly that you can prevent the source of the light from being in your eyes.
And do you use the branches themselves as a glare protection?
That's a very good point. There's a lot of branches. You can kind of hide it back in the nooks and crannies behind there to let the tree kind of work for you in that aspect.
That's great information, Mike. What about their pendants? I see maybe 5 or 6 pendants around the tree. Where are they aimed, and what function are they doing? Well,
I really love the pendants because they kind of hang from the tree and they kind of flow in the wind. And at night they'll give you the nice flowing shadows. But their main purpose for me is to give kind of the outer lighting, the general, like kind of analogous with a wall wash, basically in this instance, where it will kind of give us a soft, general, subtle lighting around the exterior.
Now, with 3 different categories, in-grades, directional downs, and the pendants, are they controlled independently?
Yes, they are.
And what value does that give you?
It's always good to be flexible, you know, to be able to adjust. Like if we have a party at night, we can have them all on and everything like that. And then, you know, the individual controlling gives you flexibility as far as a nightly aspect, or just to be able to have change the color or either the intensity of the light.
You know, my favorite way to zone areas like this would be to turn off the in-grades at, let's say, 11 o'clock, but keep the pendants on throughout the evening.
That's right. And it just gives you a soft light, so a lot of people have security concerns, you know, and that they can still be able to see through their yard and make sure that, you know, everything, it's just really beautiful and soft at night. I really like that aspect of it.
I do too, Mike. Thanks for showing me. So Chris, tell me about the lighting plan that you developed here around this tree area.
What we did was we took into consideration where this tree sat on the property.
Okay.
The road comes in from this direction. There's a sitting area up behind us there that the family spends a lot of time at. So we wanted this tree to be visible from multiple angles.
And so for how many fixtures did you decide here?
We decided that 3 to triangulate it would be the best course of lighting it.
And what effect does uplighting create for the homeowner?
What they're going to be able to see with the uplighting from this position and this tree on the property is that deck's raised. If we were to do downlighting, it's going to light below the tree in the canopy. They're not really going to see it from the deck. This way, with it going up, it's going to light up through the canopy, and they'll be able to see it from multiple angles.
Interesting. So now I also noticed that you elected to use in-grade KG fixtures as opposed to a typical stake mounted like an NP or an FP.
Correct.
Why in-grade versus stake mounted?
We went with the in-grade here because the railing allows you to come forward enough that if there was the above ground bullet style uplights, they can cause glare issues when someone looks down. This way, this fixture here, the KG well light, is just throwing light directly up, so there's not that glare issue.
I like in-grades as well because it allows the light to start right at the base, rather than if you have a stake mounted fixture, light doesn't really start until the first foot or so. So you have a lot of darkness down at the base of the trunk.
Correct.
What about maintenance? Does it save on maintenance a little bit, or cost some extra bit?
No, the KG well light is a great fixture. The maintenance guys aren't going to kick it and knock it out of alignment. They're not going to break the stake. It's definitely a good choice for this property.
So here we basically have a typical palm tree.
Okay.
In this case, it's a big, wide palm tree. It's a canary palm. And what we wanted to do was light it evenly, give it some depth and dimension. It's an anchor point for the yard. And so instead of just putting one big fat light on it and kind of flat lighting it, we chose to use 2 of the NP uplight fixtures.
Okay. And so why just 2 in this area?
Well, you're really not going to see it from the back, and we didn't want to see the beam from the front, so this gives us enough depth and character, and it gets the job done. Because we didn't know if we were going to go with a wide wash light or something a little bit more compact, and in this case, the NP, it gives us kind of both.
How so?
Well, because we were going to go with just a regular LED and just give it the warm tone and call it good. But when we did the lighting demo, we used some color. So we used ZDC. Yeah. And that did 2 things, really. One, we gave us an option to change the color on the palm tree. And what we were looking for is just a warm look. And we were able to get the exact pop that the customer was looking for. And as a matter of fact, they didn't even know they were looking for, but once we started experimenting with color, they saw that. So in my experience with using color, it's kind of, you could go bright color and really make it wow, and patriotic colors with the red and blue if you wanted to in this case. Yeah. But one of the things we want to do is we wanted to make it subtle, but yet make it pop. And so what we were able to do was just warm up the trunk of the tree by using a little bit more of the brown, of the orange scale to highlight the brown in the trunk. Okay, so when you're adjusting that hue and maybe the saturation, you really like to finesse that to really make all the colors pop. Yeah, I mean, I like to try and give you a high definition lighting appeal so that when you're looking at the landscape, everything kind of has its own place, but then certain things pop out at you. Well, that's a great tool to use because it's not just those, I call them the Vegas colors, where they're very intense hue, right? It's a combination of those for the special events when you need them, but really let's go back to a white that you need for an everyday event or everyday evening. And that's really the benefit of having ZDC, because you can have the special events and you can always bring it back to white. Yeah, it gave us a lot of options. And then there's an optics kit on the ZDC, which gives us a nice wide beam spread as well. So okay, so that gives you the flexibility of color as well as allowing you to have that wide spread to highlight the large canopy. Yeah, so we can hit most of the canopy and give us a nice warm tone on the trunk. Great, well done. Thank you. Trees are key to most landscape designs. Trees are traditionally illuminated with uplights, with a special focus to ensure all areas of the tree are highlighted from the various viewing angles. Use long shrouds or hex baffles when the light source is visible to your general audience. Focus on lighting the trunk and branching structure of a tree instead of the leaves.
always ensure the tree is properly pruned. When you install downlights within a tree canopy, you can achieve a very dramatic moonlighting look. Because trees are vital to most landscapes, they can be illuminated with color to create fun looks and themes.
I hope you learned some new techniques for lighting trees today. For more information, go to fxl.com.